Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Red Rabbit Hole. I'm Nighthawk, and we've got Eric patiently waiting backstage for me to finish up this intro stuff that YouTube always hammers me with. So that being said, we'll get into the disclaimer, and we got a couple subjects tonight we're going to start off with, too, that are very interesting. So stay tuned, all right? Copyright disclaimer is this channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast channel and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and general knowledge only, and entertainment value under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the fair use. Also, we use the UCut editing app for all of our intro and outro needs, which allows us full use of all the music in the library. So that being said, hopefully YouTube will figure that one out eventually and all their bots. But that being said, I'm going to go over to the chat and say hello to everybody that's in here for right now. Let's get Eric's mic turned on. There we go. Eric's turned on. Uh-oh. Watch yourself, Roxanne. Wow. Eric's turned on. Urso, Roxanne, good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. Dawn, thank you. Savage, good to see you. All right. There's that bizarre guy. Okay, who else we got in here? We've got Dead Wolf, good to see you. Joanne, good to see you. All right, David, good to see you. Hopefully Melissa's here. All right, let's see here. Okay. Who is this? Man, the chat keeps on skipping on me. Bounty, good to see you. All right. Well, we're gonna get this show on the road. If there's anybody I missed, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. Juno, good to see you. Who else? Come on, Daryl, good to see you. Okay, Jason, good to see you. Don't get to see Jason in here as much as we'd like to. Let's see here. I guess that's everybody that's in the chat for right now. If I miss somebody, I'm sorry. I apologize. Being as it's Easter, maybe you'll forgive me. If not, we'll get through it somehow. All right. I'll make you a producer sometime. So, yeah, tonight I just wanted to cover a few different things tonight to begin with. We all know the talk about the whole Origins flight to outer space with Katy Perry and all that in it, and a bunch of the cronies. Well, we all know that was faked, okay? First off, less than 10 minutes up there and back, that's not space. No, that's not space. That's pure fabrication is what that is. Secondly, how do I put this without sounding like I'm off my rocker? I believe that it was part of a ceremony. Okay. A spell casting ceremony to reaffirm that they are aligned with dark forces and they have chosen their battles to take on. And that is the light, which is us. Okay. So that being said, I believe that whole thing, and with Katy Perry singing the song, that one song that, I see fields of green, that song, What a Wonderful World. That's a sacrificial song, man. That's exactly what that was. That was describing what Lucifer and the dark forces want to get out of their arrangement with Katy Perry and all the other psychopaths that control this world. Okay, elitists, whatever you want to call them. So that being said, how many of you saw that the day after all that happened, in outer space. Um, how many of you heard about the plane that had to have the emergency landing in Denver that was on its way to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada? If you did hear that, Michelle, good to see you. If you did hear that, then you would know that somehow, miraculously, a rabbit got sucked into the engine.
Yeah.
Let's see. That engine would have to be, what, at least 10 feet off the ground to the bottom level of the engine. So that'd have to be a pretty damn big rabbit, wouldn't it, in order to get sucked up into that engine? And then
Yeah.
the story got even weirder. The story got even weirder by they said, oh, the rabbit was on the wing of the plane. How in the hell does a rabbit get on the wing of a plane? So,
Yeah, it's crazy how many people actually believe this too.
yeah, exactly. There are people out there that believe that story. Okay. But here's the thing. I kind of thought about it this just a lot today. This was on my mind a lot. And I have to say that when it comes down to the very, very bizarre and unusual things happening, a lot of it has supernatural significance. Okay. And I know you've heard about the plane crashes all over the place, this, that, and the other planes crashing and all that. And then you got this one where the rabbit actually burned up the engine somehow, miraculously jumping 10 feet in the air to get into the engine when it was taking off down the runway doing 300 miles an hour. But anyways, here's the story. On Sunday, April 13th, the right engine of the United Flight 2325 caught fire after a rabbit reportedly found itself on the runway as the airplane was departing Denver International Airport en route to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The rabbit got sucked into the engine of United Air Flights, causes fire, so they had to do an emergency landing. Okay, so yeah, how in the hell does that happen? Okay, here's a picture of the flight in midair where the engine caught on fire. Okay, which kind of just, I don't know. It doesn't set well with me. And then you have the whole Katy Perry thing and their little ceremony before they launched off into outer space for what, 9 minutes and 10 seconds. So that was a total flight there and back, 9 minutes and 10 seconds. And then as hard as the capsule hit the ground, you would think that they'd all be dead anyways. So, and the best part about that whole supposed live broadcast was the fact that Jeff Bezos stumbled and tripped and fell flat on his face and face planted in the middle of the desert. And then somehow he staggered to his feet to get up, get to the door after they opened the door from the inside of the capsule. Okay, folks, how much of this bullshit are we going to believe? That's what I'd like to know. How much of this bullshit are we going to believe? Well, I believe that it was part of a spell casting ceremony, whether they went to outer space or not. The significance of the outer space thing is because on the third level of heaven, it states in the missing apocrypha, and it states in the book of Enoch and several other missing books, that the third level of heaven is where demons and Nephilim spirits and Lucifer preside. Okay, that's their area of heaven. Okay, what they call lower heaven, the third level of heaven. Okay, we are the second level of heaven, and then below our feet and beneath the waters is the first level of heaven. Okay, which is connected to the bottomless pit. Okay, so that being said, I believe that they did a ceremony. Okay, to reassure their allegiance to Lucifer, the fallen, and the dark forces that control this world. Now, that's just my opinion from what I've seen and what I've experienced myself with dealing with dark arts. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion in the chat. You all know that. It's a safe place to come and we can talk about this stuff. That's just my opinion. And I'm really interested to hear what Eric and everybody in the chat thinks. So if you would, take her away. I got to get some coffee in here real quick.
I don't know if I believe about rabbit being in the engine. I think that's like, we talked about backstage. The only way that's really going to happen besides a man putting it on there is it being dropped by some kind of predator that flies. So I think that's a bunch of bullshit myself. Far as oops, sorry, missed one. Sorry, Dead Wolf. As far as them going up to the outer space thing, man, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they can reach that line, I guess you can say. They're not true astronauts by no means. We know all about them celebs and their evilness that they do. As far as them doing some kind of ritual, they've been caught doing that multiple times. And it's funny as hell. Bezos fell flat on his face eating dirt because that's where that
That's
SOB
where he belongs. Eating
belongs.
dirt.
Yeah. He had to pull a JB. He had to pull a JB coming out or going to it or whatever it was. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, so I don't know a whole lot. But no, I really, there's too many helicopters, planes falling from the sky. There's, and I beg the question, is that AI causing them to fall out? And they're lying, saying, oh, it's a rabbit that did it. No, it's the AI system crashed because it was satanic and it's getting rid of. Is that what's causing these things to drop out of the sky? Possible. We know that a couple of them was
the other thing. Yeah. Here's the other thing, though, Eric. I didn't want to interrupt you, but here's the other thing. I learned that recently. I saw a videotape online of what's going on over in the UK. And did you know that the Muslim leadership of the royal family, King, whatchamacallit, I don't even want to call him a king. He's more like a coward.
The sheik.
Basically, yeah. Basically, he outlawed Christianity or preaching the Bible and all that in the streets in public. And I saw some videos of people being, taken away by the police there, the bobbies there in the UK. So I don't know how true that is, but I did find video on it, and it was pretty shocking. So they had no problem arresting people that were of Christianity faith, whether it was Catholic or Protestant, whatever. It didn't matter. Could have been Baptist, could have been Methodist. If they were out there with a Bible preaching, or if they said the name Jesus Christ in the street and, and were praying, that they got arrested. So, but it's okay for hand signals. And we all know some of the hand signals that they do. Okay. This is one. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it is insane to think that they aren't trying to control us. I mean, anybody that cannot blatantly see the lack of concern for anybody that doesn't fall under the Antichrist memorandum. And I say Antichrist because they have literally got AI inventing a god, a false god. So is that the Antichrist? It could be. You never know. So, and I've been working a lot with AI lately with trying to get examples of the end of times. And I think some people have seen it on my posts and stuff on Facebook. Some of the weird stuff that AI comes up with without even any prompting. Just ask them to show you the end of the world as they predict it. And it showed drones shaped like scorpions with humanoid faces on them, which is exactly what it describes in the Bible, in the book of Revelations. So it was really, really something to have AI just pop that out of thin air, you know? So, but what's everybody else in the chat think? And Eric, go ahead.
Sorry, that thunder and lightning's getting closer. I just brain farted.
Well, we're only going to be on for a short while.
AI plane crash.
Oh, Larry, thank you.
Oh, we know it's some of these are DEI crashes, DEI hires, and so we're looking at this stuff going, okay, so what is actually causing all this stuff to happen? Because I mean, look at the first 3 or 4 of them were DEI hire crashes. The people weren't qualified enough to be flying that stuff, and they wrecked. This is why DEI is not a freaking good thing to do. I can't stand that. I'm waiting on to see who wins that. They haven't came up with that yet on who the winners is on Larry's member. Oh, never mind. I read that wrong. Larry's a member for 6 months. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, part of me wants to go, is this actually assassinations? There's the big A word. The big ASS word. Are these assassinations? Because some of these people, hey, Moxley, we know, hey, Ryan, we know we're very high valued political in the political field that have been unalived in these crashes. So is that what we're dealing with? I don't know. Or is it just a whole bunch of a shit show in one pot and it all comes down at one time? And that's another one. That's a very good pot.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, it amazes me that, the amount of effort they're putting into fake stuff right now, and to make society as a whole believe whatever plan that they have is legitimate. In fact, one of my own sons asked me today what I thought about the whole mothership thing of the Anunnaki and all that, and the UFOs and stuff going on. And I told him, I said, it's kind of like Project Bluebeam, don't you think? I said, but it's not Project Bluebeam we got to worry about. It's what about them faking an antichrist and faking biblical aspects that are predicted by the apostles and by God and the teachings of Jesus Christ, that they just discern information out of, and they devised some plan over the last 45 years of faking it. I'm not saying fake the return of Christ, but with the holographic imaging and all that, and God knows what else they have. We know they have a lot. They probably could pull it off. So.
Ryan. Yeah. So another thing you got to consider is this stuff connected to the 5G. Is the 5G jacking this stuff up, and that's what's causing it, man. I just know it's too. There is such things as coincidences, but there is a thing as too much coincidences. Yeah, quickie dinks. It's like I like to call it squeaky dinks. But there is such a thing as too many quinky dinks, and this is way too many quinky dinks going on in a very short time frame.
This is acting like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, and eventually that tail's going to get caught. So go ahead.
Yeah. We have to put this in play. We'd be doing it a disservice if we did not put this in play. And that could be, which could be tied to the DEI hires, very piss poor mechanical maintenance on these things.
Well, wasn't one of the deaths in the recent aircraft crashes one of the Boeing whistleblowers?
Yeah. That's what I thought originally was a rabbit one, but then I heard something about a rabbit earlier, so I was like, well, maybe it was something else.
Amazing. I don't know. What's everybody in chat got to say about that? Ryan's probably just going to want to blame it all on Godzilla.
Oh, man. Hey, Brian. He already had the Godzilla comment in there. Let me get back up to it again. There it is.
No, yeah. Fake a Godzilla attack. Okay. I don't think they could probably fake it, Ryan. I think you know as well as I do, they probably have something like that cooked up in their labs. 10, 12 stories underneath Dulce. Right, Juno?
Yeah. Bounty, that's a very good possibility, yeah. That is, I've been hearing that a lot coming around, Savage. I really have heard that a lot. What's DEI? That is the, how do I say this safely on YouTube? Where you got to hire a certain amount of type of people, regardless if they're qualified or not. I think that's a good way of putting it on there. They should let me train him. Big. Heck yeah, man. Now we got the Godzilla deal going on right now. Yeah.
Gamera.
There you go, David. Yep.
Gamera.
It's Godzilla. Run. But yeah, that is what DEI is. It's basically you hire a bunch of people because you have to do it. Otherwise, the feds come down on you and you get a whole bunch of other stuff happen to you. And it's people that's nowhere close to being qualified. So instead of hiring actual legitimate, trained, certified, qualified people for a job, you have to have a certain amount of number of this or that. Hey, Corey. Firstly, I has already sent yet. Secondly, Jesus is not coming. Oh, hey, spiritual. I just realized he was putting that in there. You must save yourselves from remembering who you are. Yeah. Yep, they didn't earn it. Exactly right, David.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, though. I mean, all the stuff that's going on, is it legitimate? Is it faked? I mean, we have it's a 50-50 toss-up we basically have in front of us, guys. Yeah. And until we can prove one way or the other, conclusively on what's going on, I mean, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because first off, we don't want to piss off the God, the creator, no matter whether you call him Buddha, Jesus, God, Wonka Tonka, it doesn't matter, you can call him whatever you want. I call him the creator, the Alpha and the Omega.
The beginning and the end.
What do we do? Do we take a chance on not believing it, or do we continue with the rouge and let it see how it plays out?
Yep. Oop, crap. Chat jumped on me. Thing is, media report what they are told to believe. Yeah, they really are. Yeah, David, 100% on it. We've proven that fact on this show. I've lost track how many times.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. So many times I've lost count too. And they've been trying to shut us down for a long time here on this channel. They really have. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They literally are trying to shut us down. They censor everything. They have literally, every time I post a live or a video, they literally basically copyright strike it and hold it and won't put it up until, I fight it or whatever. So, they're really out there. They say that things have changed for the better already, but I don't see it and I don't believe it. I really don't.
I've seen a little bit of it, but it's not progressing the way I would hope it would. I understand having to take a little while because of everything that was done to cause roadblocks for this stuff because they knew what was going to happen. There has been improvements, but it's taking a lot longer than I would like, even though I understand why.
Well, and I understand that it's going to take, a while to straighten out the mess that we were put in the last previous 4 years. But actually the previous years before the first four of President Trump after 2016. So I forget when Obama got in, but all the way back into all the way back into the Clinton years, basically into 96 is when the whole thing started. So I don't know. Makes you wonder.
Well, I mean, this has been going on a hell of a lot longer than that. I mean, you got to think this stuff has been coming into play since the John F. Kennedy was assassinated by the CIA and the mob. I mean, even the mobsters will tell you, yeah, we were hired by the CIA to do it. What's his face was a patsy. He was a CIA patsy. Gosh, I forgot his name. Lee Harvey Oswald. He was a CIA patsy. But the mob even admits, yeah, we were hired by the CIA to do it, just like we did with the Lindbergh baby and all this other stuff. I mean, this stuff is nothing new. Yes, thanks, Brian. It took me a second to think of it, but yes. So, I mean, you got to think how long this has been in effect and how long this has been building up. And, even Trump said his first term was like, I didn't realize how bad it was. And I learned from my mistakes on that one. So instead of bull rushing it like a bull in a china cabinet, like he did his first administration, he's got to take a little bit of time.
Right.
It sucks because we're hurting. I mean, I had to go and hurry myself out again today just so my daughter can go to her art thing tomorrow. I mean, we're hurting, but we're going to have to hurt for a little bit before it gets better. Yeah, spiritual. We cover that quite often on here. Yeah. We've covered that numerous times.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is Urso, I didn't hear about that.
They shouldn't have because he has top secret clearance.
Yeah, that's interesting. Absolutely, they do. I've said it was like I said on Jessica's show last night. History and science is written by the most powerful. Is written by not only the victor but the most flamboyant person. Whoever can speak the loudest, that is what the truth is going to be. Until somebody can speak louder than him. Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you, bro. That's the cold hard truth, man. That's why we tell you guys constantly, stay away from mainstream history and stay away from mainstream science, because all you're going to do is get your hearts broken and your head's full of lies. That's exactly the God's honest truth, and that's just how it is.
Exactly.
I mean, if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to look down on you if you agree with me or not. It's like we say all the time, don't take what we say for granted. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Either build upon our hypothesis or make your own.
Exactly.
I can tell you what I know. So,
yeah, it's very interesting because, with all the stuff that's been going on, I mean, think about the symbolisms in the whole rabbit in the air jet, engine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just before Easter, it's almost like a certain creator
Mm-hmm.
tossed the
Holy
rabbit
crap.
into the engine, the jet engine, to basically show them, hey, if they're going to fake people going into the third heaven to make deals with Lucifer and the fallen and the darkness, and do spell casting, then I'll just throw a rabbit of creation into the engine and into this jet leaving Denver, which Denver Airport, what's outside of Denver Airport but Lucifer, the blue
What's
horse.
under Denver Airport?
So
what's under Denver Airport?
Yeah, well,
I didn't even think about connecting the rabbit
supposedly,
and Easter.
I mean, yeah. So I just thought that was kind of interesting with the rabbit with Easter. And we all know that Easter's not really technically a holiday. It's the symbolisms of it are completely not affiliated with any biblical prophecy whatsoever or biblical writings whatsoever, whether it's the Apocrypha, the missing books or whatnot. You're not going to find a 10-foot tall bunny rabbit delivering Easter eggs. So sorry. As nice as that sounds, kiddies, that's not the way it is.
Yep. I've got my notes pulled up. I actually did a show about the true meaning and history behind Easter. So I went ahead and pulled up my notes. I still had.
Yeah, go ahead and explain a little bit about it, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm gonna finish my coffee.
So Easter's roots can be traced back to an ancient, I hate this word, but it's what everybody knows, pagan celebrating the pagan rituals celebrating the spring equinox and the goddess of Elster. I can't ever say her name right. Despite its Christian's association, the holiday's origins are steeped in fertility symbols, animal sacrifice, and blood rituals. Although most professing Christians believe Easter celebrates the resurrection of Christ, its roots can be traced to ancient civilizations that existed long before Jesus' birth, let alone his death and resurrection. The ancient civilizations of Assyria, Babylon, Egypt, and Greece, as well as that of Rome itself, all embraced religious rites that greatly resemble the holiday we call Easter. And that's kind of the opening to it. Easter's name. The name Easter is never associated well with death and resurrection of Jesus Christ in the original scriptures and is actually derived from the word Eostri. Man, I'm going to put that in your chat here just because I am butchering the hell out of that name. That way everybody knows what I'm trying to get at. And I'll put it under your hoo-ha. She was the Queen Sumerians, Sumerians, the wife of Nimrod, Noah's evil but enterprising great-grandson. Genesis 10:6-8. Her history is Nimrod built the major cities of Babel, Ashur, Nineveh, and Kala. Genesis 10:6-12, which was known for the evil and unimaginable worship practices and preservations. Remember the story of Jonah. After Nimrod's death, Queen Semiramis kept the evil practices alive by defying Nimrod as the sun god. Later, Queen Semiramis gave birth to an illegitimate son, Tammuz. She convinced the people that the son was spiritually conceived and the child promised by God in Genesis 3:15. The people worshiped Tammuz as the reincarnation of Nimrod. Still, more importantly, the people worship Queen Semiramis as the mother goddess. The horrible human sacrifice, adultery, astrologically, and satanic worship in these false religions sun Nimrod, and moon Eostri, continued until the time of the Tower of Babel. Because of their sin, God confessed the people's language, or confused the people's language to despair them throughout the world. Genesis 11:7. As the people resulted or resettled in new lands, they took their pagan worship with them. Queen Samarias came to be known as Ostera, an Anglo-Saxon goddess who symbolized the rebirth of the day and new life in the spring. Astrid, the Phoenician goddess of the moon, Estri, and Ashtoreth, or Ashtoreth, the wife of Bel and the queen of heaven. Nimrod's other names were Bel, Balaam, Melech, and the god of fire, and the great life giver. Any serious study on the Old Testament reveals God's hatred for these false worships, and Ezekiel 8:14 specifically mentions Tammuz in its condemnation. And that's a bit. Hey, Jessica. Easter's origins, the beginning of Easter goes back to the springtime ritual begun by Queen Semiramis following Tammuz's death. The legend has it that through her tears, Tammuz could be resurrected in the reincarnated form of new vegetation on earth. With the spread of Christianity many years later, it has a common practice to adapt to the existing non-Christian festivals and assimilate them into Christian theology. Because Queen Samarias was the goddess of spring and her symbolism dealt with renewal and the rebirth, the Christian belief in the resurrection of Christ fit well with these themes. Today, American history teaches us that Easter was dismissed as a pagan holiday by the nation's founding patrons and did not begin to be observed widely until after the Civil War. Easter eggs and baskets. This is a good one, actually. The Babylonians considered the eggs a sacred symbol. How many times have we covered that, brother? About the egg and symbolism.
Exactly.
I mean, we covered that multiple times. The Babylonians considered the egg a sacred symbol representing Ostera's fertility and new life. The 28-day cycle of the moon and the monthly cycle of a woman. They believed in a fable about a huge egg that fell from heaven into the Euphrates River and hatched Queen Semiramis. Egg dyeing was observed in the evil ritual celebrating the spring equinox. The Egyptians hung decorated eggs in the temple, and the Romans used decorated eggs in processions honoring the mother goddess. The Druids used eggs as their sacred emblem. Gauls, Chinese, and Persians also used colored eggs for their ancient pagan spring festivals to represent rebirth. During the Middle Ages, Europeans collected different colored eggs from nests to use as charms against evil and bring the good fortune. Later, the painting of eggs became more popular. Now the Easter basket is used to resemble birds' nests. So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of stuff here. Now, our favorite little critter we was talking about earlier, Easter bunny. Rabbits have long recognized that fertility in the symbol can also be traced back to practices established by Sumerians. In the 1500s, in Germany, some people believed that bunnies laid red eggs on Holy Thursday and the multicolored eggs the night before Easter Sunday. Later, the custom evolved into edible Easter bunnies made out of sugary pastries. This tradition came to America during the 1700s with the Pennsylvania Dutch, who immigrated from Germany and evolved into chocolate Easter bunnies and eggs during the Civil War. Children believed that if they were good to the Osterhow Easter bunny, he would lay a nest of colored eggs. And that's just a little bit into the history of Easter.
I find it odd, though. I find it very, very odd how so many reported sightings, like the one in Texas and the one in New Mexico, way back when in the 60s and the 70s, were in the shape of eggs. You know, you hear a lot of them describing some of these smaller craft as being egg shaped. So it's kind of odd to me how that plays into this whole thing too. So
I mean,
just
look at all the ancient people that supposedly were taken up to the heavens, and when they looked upon the earth, they said it was, you know, kind of global, almost egg shaped. Eggs have a lot
and that's the way I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is egg shaped. I really do. And you know, I'm not a flat earther per se, but I am one to believe that I don't believe in the globe theory. I think that it's more of an egg shape, and maybe even on its side. You know, I think there's more to the truth than what they're telling us. Basically, they feed us bits and pieces of the truth whenever they feel like it, and then whatever else they add on to it. Okay, and that's just my way of thinking. You know, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust any politician. I don't trust any lawyer. I don't trust any judge. I don't trust any cop. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the way it is. You have to literally protect yourself at all times nowadays. Literally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. You need to be sound in all three.
Yeah. Yeah, and Corey, I never thought about it because I love that show. Mick and Mork and Mindy. Mork's ship was an egg. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Corey,
that's true.
There you go. I forgot all about that, but yeah, Mork's ship was an egg. Dead wolf. I was a flat earther. I couldn't get my mind around it. The Japanese have a legend of a woman from the stars who landed on Japanese shores in an egg-shaped craft. Yeah, and that's another thing. Look how many egg-shaped UFOs that's been out there. I mean, eggs is everywhere.
Well, what about that egg-shaped rock that was carved in, I think it was Peru. It's in the museum in Peru, in South America. You know, it has the DNA snake on it too, the helix.
What does a pine cone shape look like? And what is a pine cone? Just a little food for thought. Yeah.
Yep. And who uses the pine cone a lot in symbolisms? The Pope.
Yep. Yep. I mean, you got to think a pine cone is egg shaped, and it is what releases the seeds to give birth to new pine trees.
And it's also a good source of nourishment in the middle of cold winters when you can't have any food to eat and you're starving out in the wild. Remember that, folks.
Yes, sir.
A little roughage.
He who wears the pointy fish hat.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Think about it. And I kind of came out with it the other day because I went and had me one of them fitful visions again. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but I won't get into it. But you know, I was literally told the demon Amadeus's main fear. And I don't know if those of you know what Amadeus is, but he is one of the leader demons in the Bible, and his archangel that he is he was sent down to the bottomless pits by was Raphael. And basically, I never really made the connection, but if you read the Bible enough and some of the old books and the missing books, you can figure it out what the actual fish is that most demons fear. Okay. And then you think about the symbolisms by people having all those. Remember back in the 80s, everybody had those fish symbols on their bumpers of their car and all that, and in the 90s. And then from the 90s, it went to being eclectic as far as having like all the different symbolisms of every religion in the world and bumper stickers and stuff. Um, it's funny because the one thing that keeps going over and over in my head when I think about that whole scenario of what do demons fear, and that is demons fear fishers of men. Okay, so is it man that demons are afraid of because we might be as divinely, if not more angelic in power than they are, or is it a real fish? And I kind of found out both of them. It's two different things. Okay. So I'm not gonna name the second one, but the first one I just did.
Trying to get caught up here on my daughter's texting me, and I'm trying to get trying to handle this. So we had a couple questions here. Dead wolf, I know of only two that I've heard about in the Bible that I know of. And that was when God and Lucifer was testing, I can't remember his name. He was a faithful servant of God. And towards the end of it, when the figure approached him, which ended up being Yeshua, he said he looks so much like King so-and-so from the past, which I always found that interesting because we were always taught that, Yeshua only appeared once, but in the Bible it talks about, hey, he looks like so-and-so from the past, which is two different times you hear about Jesus, Yeshua coming to Midgard and they're interacting with people. But I don't know. That's the only ones I know. So, William, you may know more than me, but
how many different Jesus characters are there? Asking for a friend. Seriously, I would like to hear any ideas on that. Different characters of Jesus. I don't think he played any characters. I think he just was himself. I think a lot of his teachings, though, when you think about it, a lot of it has to do with us being the focus, being the point where we need to improve ourselves. Okay. We need to align ourselves more with the way we were supposed to be. And since the days of Constantine and all that, and I can't remember, Charlemagne's days. I believe that a lot of the past has been made up, and I believe that there's about 300 years altogether that has been misrepresented and faked by Charlemagne and all the Pope at that time. They agreed to cover it up and make it, because Charlemagne wanted Otto to reign 1,000 years. Okay, so he could be the king that ushered in the year 1000. You know what I mean? Which would have meant a lot back in them days. So I think Charlemagne and whatever group of individuals they got together to basically scribe certain things within a 300-year period. And because there's really no physical or documented things other than what was written by the then Charlemagne and the Pope and all that back then on the history within that time frame. There's really nothing to correlate it with. Okay, so that being the case, technically, we're not in the year 2025. Think about it, because at the same time they changed the calendar. Okay, they changed all of the 13 months and 28 days that was set up with the cycles of the moon. Okay, which women would do their cycle off of, which it literally screwed up the women's cycle. Okay, and it screwed up all of our vibrational levels and spiritual levels. Okay, it literally screwed everything up, and they did that for a purpose. They wanted their bloodlines to reign continually. Okay, and they wanted everybody to fall under the one world religion of Catholicism. Okay, and that's just, that's exactly what happened. I believe that we are literally probably in the year 17, what would it be? We take 300 years away from what it is now. So roughly 312
17,
years.
17, what year is this, 2025? 1725.
76, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be 17?
No, we're in 2025, so 300 years minus that would be 1725.
Okay, 1725. So we would be in the year 1725. Exactly. That is exactly the point there, spiritual. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. And they named it April Fools. We know why they named it April Fools. So.
Yep. So, I mean, you got to think about certain things. So, the Bible even says this, if you want to look on it in that aspect, there is one supreme God that's above all other gods. So if there's no other gods, why is there one God above all other gods? And they talk, he says, I made man in our image, in the image of the gods. And when you have an S on there, that means more than one. So, I mean, we got to think about this stuff.
Look at Vicky's comment.
I'm getting down to it. As okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I had to think about what she was saying there for a second. Oh yeah, Lakeview Man. Yeah, that's a good one. So, and that's why I always tell people I do not believe in religion. I do not follow religion. I am supernatural.
I don't believe you got to go to church to practice a religion. I mean, it's to be with your creator. You don't have to. The creator made the Cathedral of the Pines, the Cathedral of the Mountains. What other more beautiful church would you want to visit and be in? I wouldn't want to be stuck indoors where I couldn't breathe the air and sit in the sunlight from what the creator made. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that mankind, certain parts of humanity that are in control, and I use that term loosely because we give them control because we're naive. I think that they just don't want to relinquish, the information, the knowledge that they have to the rest of humanity, and they keep us in the dark. So I don't know. It is what it is anymore.
About what was the organization that had the most knowledge outside of Israel when it came to the truth about Christianity? And what organization was killed for that? Part of the reason why they were killed for that. And that's the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
The Knights Templar had the most knowledge from ancient Samaria dealing with the Anunnaki, even Atlantis, all the way up to current times. And that is part of the reason why they were burned at the stake, which is why you have a cursed day called Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Now, has anybody ever studied the Emerald Tablets? Because I have.
A bit of it, not all of it, a small bit of it.
And it's very, very interesting similarities that the Emerald Tablet has to the Gnostic Christian faith, which the Gnostic faith was frowned upon about the same time the Knights Templars were literally being snuffed out. Okay, so you almost want to think that there's some kind of connection there between the surviving Knights Templar and the Gnostic religion continuing. So because whatever they found under King Solomon's temple at the time when they were in Jerusalem, it shook them up enough to not want to follow the Pope's direction anymore.
Well, riddle me this. What civilization did the ancient Jews come from? I got a couple riddles for you guys to riddle me this. Let's see if anybody knows or remembers. What is the ancient religion, the ancient country, the ancient area that the ancient Jews came from? I want to see who can get it in here real quick before I talk. Yeah, Daryl.
Anybody know the answer?
It was ancient Samaria.
Yep.
It's ancient Samaria. They came from ancient Samaria, which is worship the Anunnaki. If you study the Old Testament and you study ancient Sumerian, they're one and the same. It is literally the exact same. So, riddle me this one. What is a popular Bible character that's talked about that I'll give you a hint, it deals with water, that is talked about in Christianity, but you can also find the very same person in ancient Samaria.
Oh, I know that one. Can I? I know that one.
Let's give these guys a chance here.
All right, we'll let them get it. He had a really cool boat.
Yes, he did. You're giving them too many good hints. It's Noah. Noah is talked about in ancient Samaria just as much as they are in the modern Bible.
Moses. Moses didn't have a boat.
So yes, good to see you. Yep, it was Noah. Noah is talked about in ancient Sumerian text, and so is the flood. The flood is also talked about in ancient Samaria, which you find in the Old Testament.
Yep.
Just food for thought.
And more food for thought. I'm going to show you something. I'll have to put it on. I'm going to see if I can upload it from my phone. So bear with me, okay? I'm going to have to turn my mic off.
Yeah. So. Oh gosh, Bounty. Yeah. So I mean, you got to consider a lot of this stuff, and people don't know that because they don't stop. They want to sit in a very uncomfortable thing for a couple hours, multiple times a week. Roughly minimum of 3 times a week to hear somebody tell them the truth instead of actually researching the truth. Yes, That was what we were talking about just now, spiritual. Yep. His name ain't Noah in ancient Sumerian, but it's the ancient Sumerian version of what we know as Noah. The name is pretty much the same. It's just said differently in ancient Sumerian. Heck yeah. I might know another author too, Vicky. Oh, and for my Ihan Yar readers that's listening tonight, I am working on the Brotherhood of the Wolf and Axe because I got to thinking, because of certain characters in it, themes and areas, they're going to tie together quite nicely. So I'm leaving it up to the possibility of mergings. I'm not for sure yet. So keep an eye on that. I was working on that all the way up until we started the show. The Brotherhood of the Wolf and Axe. On Amazon, Vicky, type in e.d.testerman and you can find my books on there. Follow my fan page, and anytime I release a new book, which here in about a week I should have another one coming out, it will notify you before it notifies anybody else. But you can find me on Amazon at e.d.testerman. Oh, God, or so. I can't say what I want to on YouTube. Just think military-wise and what I'm thinking when you're talking about your eardrum being ruptured there or so. You'll know what I mean. Oh, you're welcome. Did you get her figured out? That's a nice feather fan. Oh, he's muted. Never mind. I knew you'd know what I was talking about. I gotta give you a little bit of a hard time, bro. So this is why we tell you guys all the time, just listen, do your research. No, I'm on chapter 5 of that. It's one I started a few months back, and then I got caught up on Beast of the Ozarks, and actually, I hate to admit it, I forgot about it. And then I was working on the life of Snow Fox, and I remembered, oh crap, I've got this book that I got to finish. It ties very well with Beast of the Ozarks. Not that far apart. What do you mean, Camel Dad? Because I got to be careful what I say on ScrewTube. But I forgot to make a notepad on it. That's one of the reasons why I forgot it. So I had to make the notepad today so that I can have my notes of the characters and their roles. So I'm trying to get that one done because it will tie together very well with Beast of the Ozarks. But the legit tablets are called the CDT plates, Corridora Torah plates. I haven't heard of that one before. That's new on me. Yeah, if you're talking about the Urso deal, Camo, you're going to know what I'm saying too. You're one of my battle buddies. In 2012, I was supposed to have destroyed our planet with CERN, yeah. And we jumped dimensions to keep it. And that's something we kind of talked about a few times. Are we living in has two dimensions collided, and that's what we're living in, and that's why we have the Mandela effect? Or is it we jumped into a completely another dimension or so? I mean, yeah. I mean, I get that 100%. That's a very good possibility. So, Roxanne, you should get a message later when I finish chapter 5, and letting you know that I have uploaded the new manuscript onto Patreon. So just keep an eye out on Patreon for that.
I can't find a stupid picture yet. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I think I deleted it. Son of a gun. Yeah, I think I deleted it. Damn it. Why would I go ahead and do something stupid like that?
Probably by accidental.
Man.
I hate when I do that and I accidentally delete something, and I don't realize it till way later on when I actually need it.
I'll put a comparison picture up.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see if it takes it. I might have too many pictures uploaded on StreamYard right now.
Oh, yeah. And it sucks they limit you on that, bro.
Let me see here. Hold on. Be patient, guys. I'm trying to come up with it. I got to go into my deleted folders and see if it's still there.
That is a possibility we talk about, spiritual. Yeah, I can't 100% say that is what we are because we don't 100% know. We just have what people say and what we see. But that is something we've talked about as a very good possibility of what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, it's very possible. What comes after death and Diaphla pass? That is, oh my God, I just brain farted it. Blood Eagle. I think Blood Eagle comes after that one, Vicky. Your memory serves me correctly.
Aha, found it.
Good. I hate hearing that with Urso and Bounty on their eardrums, man. I know how miserable that is. Man, I feel for you guys greatly on that. But I don't know, folks. I mean, we live in an interesting time. Very interesting time.
Okay, let me see here.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. I couldn't remember.
Okay.
My mind's still on what I'm working on, so I'm so. It
okay,
is.
This is a
yeah. I'm no.
This is a comparison here. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture of Anunnaki compared to humans back then, and then I'm going to show you a picture of comparison of Noah back then too. This is the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this is Noah.
Yeah, that fits with a lot of what we have talked about.
Yep. I mean, think about it, you know. Why do you think they want to keep it hidden from us? You know, of all the giants and stuff that they're finding, all the bones, they're hiding it from us. But just think about it,
Vicky,
you know.
to answer, yeah. Vicky, to answer your question, it looks like that is where his westerns come into play after the Offlof Pass. So the Offlof Pass was the last one. I just looked at the timeline. You can go to daroberts.net and look that up if you need to, Vicky, to help you out. Yeah.
Something else I wanted to bring up. Something else I wanted to bring up tonight is the AI thing, with the Antichrist. And then the other thing is what Kawasaki's coming out with, the motorcycle manufacturer. And that is this. It is a literally designed like a motorcycle with horse legs, and its computer is completely AI generated, and it's supposed to work with some type of an in sync thought process with the human rider. So,
don't get me wrong, that's cool as shit. But as soon as you said AI, I'm done. I don't want it. If it didn't have the AI, I would love to have one of those. But
well, the scary thing is, though, if you think about it, just take a look at this picture here, Eric. And, think about some of the mythological creatures of the past. What does that remind you of?
No, oh, damn chimera. Sphinx?
Centaur.
Oh, yes.
That could literally be AI's consideration for a human machine hybrid. I'm just putting that out there. Okay. So a human machine hybrid, you could make mythological creatures with that. So just saying.
Okay, Jay. RoboCop donkeys. Man. Yeah, that is actually I remember. Yeah, that was a good video or so. Yeah. That was a good video. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that is coolish as all get out. But as soon as you say AI, man, I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I really don't.
Yep. I just thought that was cool, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've been making animal-human hybrids for a long time, Joanne, but they're just now coming out saying, hey, we're doing it, I mean, the Sphinx is a prime example of a human-animal hybrid. After they recarved it and made it look the way it is.
Well, I just drank my last sip of coffee.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Cyborgs, I believe, is going to be the next. Yeah.
Cyborgs. They've had cyborgs.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they make this stuff for people who need it, but your robotic prosthetics is a prime example of the first leap into soft disclosure, I guess is a good way to put it, of cyborgs. Yep. But even Japan has robots now that is very humanistic, and you could transfer your whole brain into one of these robots. They have soft synthetic polyurethane skin, if memory serves me correctly, is what type of skin it has. It has moods. I mean, it's your whole consciousness transformed into a robot.
Smooth as a baby's buttocks.
Yes. and just as warm. Yeah, I need a new lays back and everything. Yeah. There you go, Camo. Yeah. Star Wars. Yeah. I love Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars nerd, but yeah, absolutely correct.
Yeah, in fact, that was part of our conversation before coming on tonight.
Well, the thing is I love the robotic parts for, replacing damaged parts that don't work on a human body. The concept about it I do not like is just like what that video is there. It's once AI's attached to it.
Exactly. When it takes away the human consciousness.
Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing is AI is good for certain things, but AI should not be controlling anything. They've literally made freaking movies on why it's a bad idea for AI to be able to do that stuff. Tons and tons and tons of movies of this stuff. Which is why we say it all the time. Holly Scrooge is a soft disclosure. You want to know the next thing that's fixing to hit humanity? Watch movies, TV shows, and commercials.
Yep. Hey, Camo
well,
Dad.
And Noah Havari even said that they're in that. Noah Havari and Bill Gates is now, they've openly admitted this. You can find it on YouTube. At the World Economic Forum said that they have now made Homo sapiens obsolete. They have a deal now that they can pump in your system that changes your human DNA into an AI system DNA, bringing a whole new line of bloodline that they can literally control you on how you vote, how you work, how you act, and everything. That is, there should be no YouTube strikes on that because you can literally find those videos on YouTube of them talking about that in the World Economic Forum. Agreed, Joanne. So, I mean, that's just what world we live in. That's why me and William is so against the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Noah Havari, Bill Gates, because of the stuff they do. And like my retirement was attached to Vanguard. Vanguard was at the World Economic Forum ushering in an era where the government and the corporations control everything you have. They'll give you everything. You will not need money no more. But if you do something they don't like, they'll take it all away. And as soon as I heard that straight from the CEO's mouth of Vanguard, I pulled all of my stuff out, every dime I ever put into it, that they put into it. I now manage my own retirement, and I put that into other stuff. I don't get near the big return as I did with Vanguard, but I'm not going to have my money supporting an evil empire.
Yeah.
Darth Sidious will not get his evil paws on me. I'll be the last Jedi to stand my ground.
I'll be the last Jedi.
Strong with the Force I will be. Give in to evil I will not. Dude, I'm a nerd. Oh.
Well, I hate to break the news, guys, but we got an early morning tomorrow morning. And I know Eric's got some storms he's going to be dealing with tonight overnight. So I think we're going to cut this a little short tonight. Yeah. And, I want to thank everybody, the mods. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all the comments in the chat. We love it. And hopefully, knock on wood, we'll see everybody at 11 a.m. in the morning and right here. And Eric, you want to tell them what you got going on this weekend?
So during tomorrow's show, Campfire Chats, I have something that I've only shared with D.A. Roberts, William Nighthawk, Jessica Jones, and Robbie Rip Raines that I found last weekend. Something
the inner
very,
circle.
very cool. The inner circle. Oh, you're lucky, Roxanne. So I will be revealing those on the campfire chats Saturday. Sunday, I've still got to pick a show to do. I've been hammered at work and everything else. That's why I'm trying to get some writing done because I haven't done no writing in a little while since finishing up Beast of the Ozarks. Good night, Vicky. It's good to see you, sweetie. So I'll get that figured out between now and Sunday. But you know, if you guys missed last Sunday's show with Robbie and the cloning of the dire wolves, you missed a good show. You really missed a good show. We got into some very touchy subjects on these cloned dire wolves. So we'll figure something out. I'll try to get something similar to that, so I can kind of tie the two together. But we'll work on that. So Saturday, I hope to see you there. I'm sure William can contest. Those are some interesting stuff I found.
Oh yeah,
and you know, it's trying to figure out what it means is the most important thing right now. But so we got that going on. Outside of that, pretty much just being on with you, unless I'm asked to. Oh no, I was there. Did I miss something? I'm sorry. If unless I get asked to join somebody else's show, last night I was on with Jessica Jones and Robbie Rip Raines. Robbie Jed Raines. I was on with them last night. We had a really good talk about the Irish Walker Wolves. So if you get a chance, go to Jessica's Cryptid Hunter show. Check that out. I had a lot of fun. It's always fun getting on with Jessica. So that's pretty much what I got going on. Not a whole lot.
Guys, I'm starting to lose my eyesight, so I'm going to have to cut out of here. But thank you all for being here. And hopefully we'll see you all at 11 a.m. in the morning. And we'll get into all kinds of cryptid talk. So we'll see you all in the morning, okay?
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.